Hello, friends. My name is Ben, and this is my final project video for designing and developing relational NoSQL databases. So, for my final project, I put together a golf database for some professional golf tournaments. I used a online website called datagolf.com. Pretty helpful information here that includes tons and tons of data points. I didn't go through every single one of them, just used some that I was more interested in reviewing. So, just going to go over that real quick. I pulled the top 75 players in the world based off of their skill rankings. I pulled some of their top 88 golf courses, pro golf courses, to get some course data. And then I also chose 5 of the more recent golf tournaments, and from those 5 tournaments, pulled the scores of the 75 players if they played. So I used, the Masters as an example of one tournament that I pulled the data for. So without further ado, let's take a look at how we went about it. So we downloaded these CSV files and adjusted based off of which data we wanted to see. So top 75 players, 88 of the courses that are played with par and yardage, stuff like that. Top 5 more recent tournaments that have gone on in 2024. And then the scores of those 75 players in those tournaments if they played. So with that in mind, with that data, we put together the following design. So I had a players database or a table, and then a scores, tournaments, and courses table. Players, just first name, last name, player ID. Every score has one player, but not every player plays in a tournament. So it could be 0 to many on the scores to players. And then scores, we used player ID and tournament ID combined to make a unique identifier for the scores table. And then scores also has foreign keys for both player and tournament. And then if we look at tournaments, tournament ID, name, foreign key for the course, and the year it was played. Every, score has one tournament and one tournament only, but every tournament has numerous scores. Every course, not every course has a tournament based off the data I collected, but every tournament only has one course. So that's kind of the relationship description there. So let's, play around with the data here. So we can see a few queries here. So I used MySQL Workbench to import some of the CSV files that I showed previously. So let's use some of these queries for what we have time for. So this query is probably the more popular one, is to show us the top 5 winners per tournament. So I think tournament 1 is the Masters. So it looks like Scotty Scheffler won. That will be no secret. If I changed all of these tournaments, I think he won 4 out of the 5 ones that I took a look at. So definitely the best player in the world at the moment. Let's see what else we want to look at. Let's see a list of tournaments a player has played in. So 15, I think, is Bryson. Let's use my favorite golfer, which is Rory McIlroy. All right, so out of the 5 tournaments that I took a look at, he played in every single one. He is a baller. He wants to get out there. So he played in all 5, but if we look at a different player like Bryson, who's not in the PGA, he doesn't get invited to every tournament. He only played in the Masters. The Masters is a big one. Everybody wants to play in that one, but that makes sense. And this one was another analysis on the performance of players to see the top 5 lowest tournament scores of all the tournaments. So we can see Scotty Scheffler's in there a couple times. He shot low on multiple of these tournaments. So definitely one of the best players in the world. Thanks for stopping by.